now.
Oh, there it goes. Okay.
Sorry.
That's okay. So it hasn't been recorded, so anyone that is joining us, when they come through, they can go back to the beginning of the PowerPoint, and all that has been discussed so far is the agenda, the fees, which can be found on page 116 of the graduate calendar, fees deadline September 28th, January 28th, and May 28th. We went through the tuition fees, graduate tuition, and you click in here to find that. And then to determine your tuition fees, you go to this program, click in, and your student account, we've talked about that. How to make a payment is where we are. So we haven't missed very much. To make a payment, you can click into these various links and you can find out how to make a payment to your university account. Your official Trent receipt will be available within 3 business days from our receipt of your payment on your statement account. So again, view your Trent on your My Trent portal under the Finances tab. So this is what your My Trent portal will look like. It's right here. So this is an important, and this is where we're talking about that you want to go on to your account statement. Your account statement will show when your billing has been on and when you've made a payment. So you want to make sure that you can tell that these things have occurred and stay on top of the status of your student account. You will need to enter your bank account information if you receive funds and your balance is in a credit state and you'd like to have funds. And we talk about that later, but this is the link to that. Tax forms, request funds for credit, make a payment. There's your make a payment button that you want to look through. I'm bringing this back, the slide back up, just in case you forget later on when I get talking. So tuition awards and funding is next. At Trent, all eligible graduate students may be offered competitive funding for support in their studies. We are very pleased to provide funding for master's students and PhD students. Financial aid for individual full-time graduate students may be available from the following sources: scholarships, fellowships, and other merit awards from governmental, industrial, or other granting bodies in Canada, university entrance awards, academic scholarships, tuitions, and bursaries, graduate teaching assistantships. Many people have already been dealing with their GTA information and interacting with Lori about this. It talks about the maximum amounts for GTAs, research assistantships, and loans from the Ontario Student Assistance Program, which is for the domestic students. This is part of our graduate scholarships and bursaries page. This is the header on that piece. And many of you would have already received this information within your offer of letter. So this shouldn't be too much new information. Funding. Let's go a little deeper into that. Here we go. As for the letter of offer, funding may include research fellowship, Dean's PhD scholarship, entrance scholarships, which could be various, research fellowship awards, international scholarships. Now, like tuition, your funding, you may have seen your research fellowship for the arts doctoral students coming on around $5,000. It will go on in thirds, the same as your tuition is billed in thirds, your research fellowship, your Dean's PhD, research fellowship awards, and international scholarships all go on in thirds. So you'll see them, and they apply. Funding is first directed towards your tuition fees. Funding goes on approximately late into the 3rd week of the 1st month of each term. So again, it's the 3rd week of the 1st month of each term is when your funding goes on. It gets a little scary because your tuition fees have already been posted and you think you owe a lot of money when you're expecting your funding. Be patient. We do get to the funding after we confirm registration. So it's the 3rd week of the 1st month that your funding goes on. Now, entrance scholarships, depending on the value of the scholarship, it may go all front-loaded, being in September or the month term that you start, and it may spread out. So if you were to receive $5,000, it's $3,000 in September, $1,000 in January, and $1,000 in the May term. And they go first again towards your tuition fees. Graduate funding forms. So we're going to go into the Research Fellowship Awards. I'm not sure, typically when I'm in a class, I find out how many people are science students, and then I can review how you order a Research Fellowship Awards. This is specific to science students. Typically, there's the odd art student that would get it, but typically this is the funding, and Research Fellowship Awards are the funding that you get from your faculty member, and it will be a discussion with your faculty member on how it's going to be allocated. It's allocated in various formats depending on your discussion with your supervisor, where you're going to be, the fund, a number of reasons on how funding is allocated for the Research Fellowship Award, because it is negotiated with yourself and your supervisor, but it fits to the amount in your offer of a letter. So if your offer of admission said $8,300 over the academic period from September 1st to August 31st, you will receive that $8,300 in whatever format or that you have negotiated with your supervisor. Typically, it's smaller amounts in the fall and winter while you're receiving your GTA, and a large amount in the spring term. There's usually a lot of questions about that one. So in order to proceed to get your funding, most of you have worked, Laura, able to answer that. The Form 1A is already completed, and that's with your GTA, and that's from your department. The Form 1B is used for Research Fellowship Awards, and that is now an Excel spreadsheet. Your faculty member will submit via an email the Excel spreadsheet to eliminate signatures, and it'll come to me, and in the fall term, which being September, will be posted by the end of the month prior to the 28th. So even if you've had that discussion, you've completed your Form 1B now or before the 10th of September, it needs to go through over to my office. I put them all together, then it goes over to the research office for 2 sets of approvals, and then it comes back and it's manually posted to your student account. So bear in mind, although you've submitted your 1B form, it's not something that happens with 2 or 3 days. It's probably more like 10 to 15 business days that it gets posted to your student account as the amount of tiers it has to go through. So this is something that you should negotiate and discuss with your supervisor as soon as the term starts. That's your funding Research Fellowship Awards, and that's for science students, and it will be noted in your offer of admission in regards to Research Fellowship Awards. The form is a 1B, and it's an Excel spreadsheet that the faculty member completes. That one gets a little complicated, so I spend a little more time on that for you guys. And go back to my picture. This was last night, and there is a rower, and that's the coach that goes around. You hear him yelling at the person. When you're kayaking, they create a wake, and you're just like, ah, it's coming, and you have to get out of the way of the rower because they're facing backwards to you, so you're negotiating pretty quickly about the rowers, but they are fun to watch. And the bridge is right here, and they go flying around here. And some of them they're impressive when they get going. Oh, and this is the website, Graduate Studies, the forms website, and this will be used. So we'll move on to the next one. Okay, so here we go. Here we go. Requesting funds, credit on account. This is a funds request can be submitted through the My Trent portal under the Finance tab. Generally, funds requests, oh, there's double. I'll fix that. There's 2 requests. We'll just tidy that up after. Maybe if I do that now, will it be on my website? Will my PowerPoint be with that double duplication? Oh, sugar. Okay. Oh, I missed that. Okay, so generally funds requests are processed within 7 to 10 business days. So if you submit your request by the Friday, actually the Thursday evening, by the Friday morning, we go on to our student system. We download the requests, we process them, and then we send them on to the finance team. So the finance team then goes through them. They have to pull the funds off of your student account. When they pull the funds off your student account, then they have to make a request to transfer the funds from Trent's bank account into your bank account. So this process takes about 7 days. So you submit your request, we process them, we send them off to to the finance department. The finance department pulls them off, then they pull them off your pull them off your student account. So you will have a charge which takes the funds off of your student account, bringing it down to a zero. So let's say you had a credit of $200 on your account. You would submit a credit request. So we do our process. The finance team takes the 200 off your account, so it brings it down to a zero. Then it moves into your bank account. So that process takes about 7 days from the Friday to the Friday. So just check your bank account to make sure that there has been a deposit into your account. So that one sometimes asks some questions, and I've just helped you here by bringing back. Yep.
Add on to that one, I believe it has to go to a Canadian bank account for the
Sorry,
request.
that's right. It must be deposited into a Canadian bank account, and that's your bank account information that you have to input, and it has to be a Canadian bank account. And this is the request funds credit on account. Unfortunately, we don't get the T in there or the N, but that's where you do the request. That's where you input your Canadian bank account. Yes, current Canadian banking information must be on file. Look at the wrong screen. Current Canadian banking information must be on file, which is also submitted via the Trent portal, which I showed you on the next slide. Okay, then we're going to go back into graduate bursaries. So just to confuse things, back here, we are moving into graduate bursaries. This is the button you would click on, the financial aid, and your bursary application will be on there. There we go. Okay, so the bursary program for graduate students at Trent University is administered by the School of Graduate Studies. That would be my area. Bursaries are meant to supplement, not replace, a student's own resources. Bursaries are awarded each term to students who demonstrate financial need. The application is available at the beginning of each term under that financial aid link on your MyTrent in the MyTrent portal, and to be considered for a bursary, students are required to submit a completed application online by the advertised deadline. So the online application deadline is fall, September 30th, 2020, winter, January 31st, 2021, and the spring is May 28th, 2021. And I try to have them all completed and posted to your student account or advised about the status of your bursary application within 6 to 7 weeks. The fall is a little bit tricky, and that's where we tend to be about 7 weeks. Please reference the Graduate Studies Academic Calendar for additional award listings. In the winter term is when I award from our donor funds, and at that time, you're encouraged to apply, but the donor-specific funds, and these funds are awarded in the winter term, you'll probably be requested to send a thank you for these funds to say how they have been a benefit for your education and to help you with your academic expenses. So that's graduate bursaries, graduate scholarships. Here we go. Scholarships available to international students in the research graduate programs include the Vanier Scholarship. Now this is only open to doctoral students, and there is a link on the website. That's the website right here. The how to apply, awards, funding, graduate scholarships and awards. So it's a big scholarship, and that's for doctoral students. The other one is the Ontario Graduate Scholarship, and that is open to research international students, and it's highly competitive. Sorry. Bada Memorial Graduate Scholarship, that's an intern or donor fund, and the Zobel Dr. Alicia and Dr. Gazia Conference Fund. Visit the School of Graduate Studies scholarships page to view additional award opportunities offered through third-party organizations. This is just an opening from when that website that you go to, and this is an example of did that click? Oh, that's nice. Internal scholarships and award listings. The Bada Memorial Scholarship is one of the ones open to international students, and it's an internal fund. So if you were to click right here, the School of Graduate Studies, the internal application, you will see the details about it. Once you're completed that application, you will submit to the graduate finance at trentu.ca. And you should watch, everyone's encouraged to watch for notices regarding scholarships, training sessions, which will probably be in the fall and September and October, late September, October. The one scholarship that is a really competitive, it's valued at $15,000, is the Ontario Graduate Scholarship. This is a scholarship that is the province pays a portion and the university pays a portion. It's 2/3, 1/3. It's an online application. The application right now it needs to be adjusted to reflect the 2021, as it's the 2020, 2019. And but it gives you an idea. So if you click through, you'll be able to see the application and get an idea of what's required. And awards are open to School of Graduate Studies graduate programs which have a significant research component. A significant research component is considered to be original, autonomous research that leads to the completion of a thesis, major research project, dissertation, and/or scholarly publication that is merit expert reviewed at the institutional level as required for completion of the program. Professional programs defined as primary course-based degree or stream where institutional funding is not provided to students are not eligible. Yeah, this is a competitive program, and I would encourage anyone that's interested in submitting an application for the Ontario Graduate Scholarship to attend one of the training sessions. We did this one.
Sorry to interrupt, Jane. We just had a question. Definitely international students are eligible for the OGS, correct?
International students are eligible for the OGS as long as they are in a research-based program. So yes, they are eligible for that one.
Okay, thank you.
Where are we here? Resources during your program. Graduate program administrator, your program coordinator, your supervisor or co-supervisors. Your supervisors should be involved when you're submitting a scholarship application. They do not need to be involved with a bursary application, but scholarship applications, they should be involved and they should be reviewing your submission. Your graduate program director, Trent Graduate Student Association. The Trent Graduate Student Association, I believe, does have some bursary funds that they award, and I would encourage students to review that website to get information on that. School of Graduate Studies, we're available. Our office is always available when we get back if you want to send us an email, and we'll be happy to help you with any of your questions. The Dean of Graduate Studies. Another support is the Trent International Program. There are Peterborough campus virtual tours and the Durham campus. This is a great resource and they are very helpful, and I would encourage anyone to go to their website if you haven't already and take a look at it. I do think the international orientation was last week, and you can see that it is posted online. I watched it on Sunday, and I think they have an open session every day at 3 o'clock, but you can look into that. So the next one, upcoming sessions for the graduate students. Lori talked about this morning. All times listed below are in Eastern Standard Time. So August 26th at 9 a.m. is the orientation and student services. I would encourage everyone to participate in that because a lot of questions can be answered here. And I give you some screenshots again. This is Battle Library. This is Champlain College going down to the steps into the quad. And this is another shot from my kayak at Zowski College. And these are all my shots that I took last night, and I'm excited to share because the campus was absolutely stunning. This is Lady Eaton College. This is OC. The cafeteria is in here, and in here you can sit out here and have a coffee or muffin. And this is the English library. It's an English garden right in here, and it's absolutely stunning. There are benches that you can sit and read. You can look at the water or the bridge. Zowski College from closer to the river. This is the quad, and in here is in towards the science complex. And there's I don't know, what's that little luncheon space? There's a little luncheon space that you can go up. A lot of people can sit out here. And actually, the interesting thing is the railroad used to go through here, and they took that off a number of years ago in order to build that building. It was very cool. And actually, I think there is the railroad there. That's Champlain College, and that is Lady Eaton College entranceway. This is from the bridge. I think we're into the questions. So I'll stop sharing right there. And there you go. Yeah, switch to chat. Oh, looks like we don't have any questions again. Perfect.
Well, there is one question there. Jane Samuel
Oh,
is wondering about booking a one-on-one session with you via Zoom.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Jesse, if you send it to graduate@trentu.ca, Jesse can set that up. If that'll work.
Yeah. Yes. Or I can reach out to Samuel too and set up
Sure.
the Zoom link for you or whatever.
Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Oh, do you see the other question there?
If we don't have our study permit approved yet, do we still receive our scholarships? They are, as long as you're registered for the fall term, Lisa can jump in on here. As long as you're registered for the fall term, they'll be applied to your student account and they'll stay on your student account towards your funding. Once your study permit information is resolved, then it can move forward. But your funding will be posted to your student account third week, first month of the term, so around middle of September. It'll be posted. You can see it on your My Trent, but those funds will stay there until your details have been resolved. Anybody, did you want to add to that, Lisa, or is that covered?
That was good. It's just, without the study permit, students can't set up their Canadian bank account. So, yeah, sorry. The next question coming in is just asking about Canadian bank accounts. And so students need to have their study permit in place before they can set up their bank account. And I believe they have to have their SIN number in place for bank account.
Yes.
And so once you have a bank account in place, we can give you transfer refunds that your scholarships might add to your account. So at this point, we would say leave the scholarships on your account, let that go towards what you owe, and then pay the remainder so you don't have a credit on your account. And then once you have a bank account, we can work on transfers.
And if you do need help setting up your SIN number, I know Trent International offers tutorials or like little workshops on how to do that each semester, at the beginning of each term.
And the other question is, can we use that scholarship in our student account towards fees? Absolutely. All of your funding goes towards your fees first, and then you can request a credit refund. Is it possible to use the funds from my GTA to pay my tuition automatically?
No, do you want me to do this one, Jane?
Yes.
So GTAs, because they are, it's technically a job offer, so students are paid through payroll for GTAs. So in order to accept your funding for a GTA or accept your GTA position, you have to be able to, so the money from the GTA goes directly to your bank account. So if you don't have a bank account set up or in place, you wouldn't be able to get paid for the GTA and therefore wouldn't be able to accept the GTA for that term. So GTA payments, like I said, it kind of comes back to being a job, and if we can't pay you for that job, you can't accept it. So yeah, you have to have a bank account basically set up before we can pay you. We can't move the money to go directly to your account.
That's true. And absolutely, you need to have your Canadian bank account, your SIN number, and all of that in place and be awarded your GTA. Once that has been established, it's what other students have done is they've set up with their bank that to do a transfer, the Canadian bank to do the funds come in and then they transfer it back out. So if you get paid on a Friday, then on the Monday you set it up or like bi-weekly that the funds get moved over to your Trent bank account. So it can be done, but you would do it through your bank. And that the details on how to do that are on that website. So once you've got a Canadian bank account. I think we've answered.
Any other questions? You can always feel free to reach out to Jane through Graduate Finance at Trent U if you have further questions that you think of later as well. So, and any other questions related not to finance, you can email to graduate@trentu.ca. And yeah, I'm sure we'll be able to answer more questions on other topics on next week's session. Yeah, so if there
And I will be organizing scholarship training sessions. At some point, they will be in September. The OGS isn't due until the winter term, so I might do it, the OGS training session in November. But that's a work in progress, but watch for the news and the emails that I send out.
Oh, Jane, there was one final question there. Samuel just asked, is it possible to pay your tuition by installments?
That's something that you can reach out to me about that. So it's graduatefinance@trentu.ca, and we can discuss that. Ideally, the tuition is due on the tuition due date, and most there are some situations where some people have credits already on their account, or they've done already a tuition deposit. Those will be moved towards your tuition fees. However, you can reach out to me about that.
No further questions?
All right.
Okay, I guess we'll sign off.
Oh, there is. Oh, okay, thanks. I thought there was a question coming, but thank you. You're welcome.
Okay, well, have a good day, everybody, and
Okay.
we'll talk to everyone next Wednesday.
Okay, thanks.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.